always do a program called 40 Days to a Personal Revolution at the beginning of a year and a couple of times throughout the year. And we've completely overhauled the program. So it starts at the end of this month, in fact, the last Wednesday of the month, and our meetings in this studio or virtually will be held Wednesdays. So I teach at 4, then Kelly teaches at 5:45, and then would be the meeting. And I'm leading the meetings in Lancaster. So if you've never done it before, it would be so much fun to have you. Or if you do it every year, well, get signed up. We've got a lot of new parts to it for you so that it is an incredible reset and get started to a new year. So I look forward to seeing you. If you have questions about the program, 4 parts to it, 4 practices. One is asana, and asana every day. And there's some of you in this room who already do that. One is meditation every day. And then another piece we call inquiry. Inquiry in our style of yoga is this quality, and so maybe we'll just easily refer to it for you as journaling, but it's this quality of having a question and allowing yourself to discover answers, not to get to the end and have an answer, but to continue discovering. And in fact, when you're practicing on your mat, you're also doing inquiry in every single pose, discovering what's next, what's possible in your body right now. And then the last part is a nutrition piece. And so through the program, we take you through an elimination until there's a fruit fast, and then build back up out of that. So we've added grocery shopping lists, lots of recipes, and it's such a clearing of food as a tool for mood and instead a source of vitality. So that's what I have to say about that. If you have more questions, I'd love to answer them after. Let's get started. Child's pose. Toes together, knees open, arms forward on your forehead, down to your mat. Create your breath the way that you know to do it. The slow and steady, the pauses in between the inhale and the exhale, the extra long exhale. And start with your breath to center your attention right in this pose right now, and take the pose as an inquiry, a discovery of what's possible right now, and then right now, and then right now, in all of the right nows. On your next inhale, lift your body up into downward facing dog. Keep your attention on your breath and your gaze on just one point. And while you're here exploring in an inquiry of downward facing dog, also put your attention on your foundation, your hands and your feet. And then inside of that pose, the discovery of it, be fascinated with your breath. Listen to yourself breathing, feel yourself breathing, and listen to the breath of others in their space. You can imagine Candy's breath at home and her here with you. And then maybe as you're discovering, you have to reset some things in the pose. Make more length or more width in this pose. Then take another breath in. Exhale and look forward. Then walk up to your hands. Be on purpose with your feet. Inhale, lift up halfway. And exhale, hang down to the ground. So you can fold your arms and sway from side to side. Keep in the practice of breath and attention. So with the 40 Days program, we have this intention of personal transformation, not because there's something wrong with us already, but because we have a curiosity for deeper possibilities. And let that same kind of curiosity be right here in your practice, and more specifically in your feet. Press your feet, all 4 corners of both feet, down into the mat. And breathe until there's an aliveness. You can feel the surface of your feet, the skin on your feet. And as you press down, you also feel a rising up. One more breath. Then come rolling up to standing. Once you're standing tall, sweep your arms overhead, look up and stretch up, and then exhale, bring your hands into prayer position and pause. So an intention is a North Star. While you set your intention for this practice, choose a North Star that will guide you in every single pose that you take. And then 3 times we're going to chant Om together. Feel free to make as much noise as you can with your body until you really feel the chanting in your body. Don't worry about how it sounds. Take a deep breath in. Inhale, reach up. Fold to the floor as you exhale. Inhale, lift up halfway. High plank to low plank. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Breathe here. To manifest any intention, you'll have to be specific. Specificity gets specific results. So in your last breath in this pose, be very specific about your hands and your feet. Then look forward and jump up to your hands. Halfway lift, fold. Press your feet down, stand up. Lift up, look up, fold to the floor as you exhale. Inhale, halfway lift, low plank on the exhale. Upward facing dog, roll over your toes. Downward facing dog. 3 breaths. Now work together. Be specific in your breath in sending it out and experiencing it. 1 more breath. On the exhale, bend your knees, look forward, jump to your hands. Halfway lift, fold. Press down, reach up, look up, fold to the floor, exhale. Inhale, lift up halfway, low plank on your exhale. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Breathe. 2 more. Last one. Bend your knees, look forward, jump. Halfway lift, fold. Press down, stand up. Fold to the floor as you exhale. Halfway lift, low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. So where your feet are in this downward dog right now is a setup for all the poses to come after this. 1 more inhale, bend your knees, exhale, jump. Halfway lift, fold. Last time, press down, stand up, reach, fold to the floor. Halfway lift, stretch, drop to the chaturanga and hold it there. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Through these sun salutations, let yourself wake up. Wake up to body, mind, and spirit by starting to match your breath to your movements. Take 1 more breath in. Exhale, bend your knees and jump. Halfway lift, fold. Chair pose, sit deep and reach with your fingertips. Fold to the floor. Halfway lift, low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward, a long stride. Take a deep lunge and reach up. Then hands to the floor, low push up and hover. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Left foot forward and lunge. Reach up but lunge low. Hands to the floor, chaturanga, and hover. Inhale, go up. and exhale back. Breathe in. Breathe out. 2 more. Last one, get ready. Squeeze the mat, bend your knees, look forward, jump. Halfway lift, fold. Chair pose, sit and reach, fold to the floor. Halfway lift, low plank, hover. Inhale up, exhale back, right foot forward. Go long, lunge big, and reach, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, left side step. Reach through your wrist and your fingertips, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Now, an intention doesn't manifest on its own. Of course, you need specific actions. 1 more breath in, breath out, bend your knees, and jump. Halfway lift, fold, chair pose, squat back, reach right here and breathe. And it also requires rigor of the specific actions. So while you're in this pose, look at your feet. Organize your feet. Many of you could stand to make your feet parallel, maybe make them wider. So open up your heels. That's it, and sit deep. Then as you inhale, stretch your elbows, your wrists, and your fingers, and sit deep. 2 more times. Reach, sit deep, stay with it. Reach, sit deep. 1 more inhale, fold, exhale. Halfway lift, low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, right foot forward, lunge, low down, reach up, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, left foot steps. Lunge and reach. Press the back edge of your back foot, Suzanne. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. So maybe you need a sigh to let go of whatever became extra in your discovery. 1 more inhale. Bend your knees, squeeze the floor, jump. Halfway lift. Fold, organize your feet, squat down and reach up into chair pose. Fold to the floor. Halfway lift, drop into the low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, right foot forward. Anchor, lunge way down, reach up. Hands to the floor, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, left foot step and lunge. Lift the pit of your belly, hands down, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Though all of the poses, I think, are made better when done from the perspective of inquiry, the sun salutations, more than any, I think that's true. Raise your right leg into the air, bend your knee, heel to your hip, and flip the pose over. This section is called Awakening for a reason. Instead of doing the poses the way you always do them, instead as an inquiry with your North Star, and then from there a discovery. What else is there for you in the pose? I'm sure there's something. Take 3 more breaths to discover the pose. Discover your breath. You got 1 more. Side plank, put your right hand down, face the left side of your mat and stack it up. For the longest time, I practiced as like an achievement. Did I do the bigger pose? Was it fun? Was I doing crazy tricks? And I got really bored with it. Be in this pose just to be in it. Doesn't matter if you're getting a little tired. Just stay in it and breathe and get so interested in the fabulous quality of discovery. You're fine. 2 more breaths. You got it. 1 more. Hands to the floor, chaturanga. Who knew you were that strong? Upward facing dog. You did it. Downward facing dog. Maybe take a sigh. Left leg in the air. Bend your knee, heel to your hip, and flip it over. Now you know you have every bit of adaptation in your power here. If you had to scale the pose down to still have a quality of integrity in the pose, you could have done that. You can do that right now. Or scale it up, but press down with your hand, rise up out of your right shoulder. This is the sticky one. Keep breathing. One more breath. Side plank, left hand down. Face the right side of your mat. So take a couple of breaths just to get in the pose. And then breathe as an inquiry. So not to find the answer, not to find the end, not to just be finished, to know that you checked this pose off on your yoga list today, but to discover something new. You've got 3 more breaths. Here's the last one. Hands to the floor, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward to crescent lunge. Arms overhead. Breathe right here. While you're breathing, just presence in your own mind the North Star, the intention that you set for yourself in this practice today. Keep your breath flowing. And what would it be to discover your North Star inside of this pose right now? Maybe you had an intention to be present. And to discover that right now would be to just really listen to yourself breathing. One more breath in. Hands to prayer position at your chest and twist toward the right. Put your left elbow on your right knee. Open your arms if you're doing that. Half bind, full bind, side scissors. All the tricks are available. But whatever you do choose, come into your body, into your breath, and breathe. And look for what's possible. If you don't look for it, you'll never see it. 5 more breaths. You still have 3 more breaths. What will you do with it? That'll work. We have 1 more. Stay here and exhale. Then inhale, crescent lunge. Warrior 2. Just go right into it. When we just get through the transitions, right there with the breath, we have more time in the poses to discover something new about ourselves, new about our North Star, about our body, ability to be present. Press the back edge of your back foot down and try and straighten the back knee and then lunge. That's it, Charlie, lunge. Now, before we go anywhere, just stretch from thumb through chest to thumb, lunge down low, and then tilt. Extended side angle. You have so many choices here. It could be extended side angle, bound extended side angle. You could take the bound extended side angle into a bound triangle pose. There's a challenge. You have so many choices. Get to the edge of your pose, what you know, what you're comfortable with, the edge of your comfort zone, and then just commit. And then take 5 more breaths. You got this. Now, if you don't breathe, I won't be able to count it, and so we might just stay here for a while. 1 more. Turn your chest to the ceiling, then hands to the floor, chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Seems like we need a sigh. Take a breath in, stick your tongue out. Step your left foot forward to crescent lunge. Arms overhead. It's so freeing when you get to that point where it all shifts and you get to practice from a quality of discovering every pose newly, from the lens of your intention, your true north. It's a long practice otherwise. Lunge down, stack your back foot up, heel over your toes, then reach up and go back. Keep breathing, lift the pit of your belly up. 1 more breath, hands to prayer, and twist. So your right elbow now to your left knee. And take any variation you want, opening your arms, half binding your arms, full binding your arms. And then maybe you don't even know what to do when this quality of offering to you of discovering the pose is there. Well, light up the dull parts. That's a good place to start. Any part in your body that's just dull. Maybe it's your back knee, your back leg. That's a usual dull part in this pose. 2 more breaths. 1 more breath. I didn't hear the exhale. Reach up, crescent lunge. It's all of a sudden there was an inhale and nobody exhaled. Warrior 2. And lunge down deep here. Make a longer stride. That's it. Even longer. And then tilt for extended side angle. I always find that the back leg is a dull leg in this pose. Like I really have to be conscious of it and press the back edge of my back foot down. And then take the pose where it will go, half bind, full bind, bound triangle pose, whatever fancy trick you have, a bound half moon, you could step into that, get what you'll get, and then 5 more breaths. Page lunge and lift your chest. Press your hip with your hands. Lunge again. 2 more breaths, chest up, and turn it to the ceiling. 1 more breath, chest to the ceiling, Charlie. Hands to the floor, chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. I have this quote at the bottom of my emails that I just love, and in essence, it pretty much says, I want to live my life in such a way that I'm thoroughly used up in the end. I think it's awesome to practice that way too. Take a breath in and a breath out, look forward, jump up to your hands, halfway lift, forward fold, chair twist. So in the chair, hands to prayer, twist to the right. And breathe. I grew up in gym class in the days where we had to do the presidential physical fitness and we had to start gym class by running for 15 minutes. No middle school girl wants to do that. And so we'd try to resist by shuffling around the field or whatever. Press the left hip back. And what I really discovered was half-assing it like that was so much harder than just doing it full out. Squat down, open your arms. You got it. 3 more breaths here. Let your shoulders relax. 1 more breath. Chair pose. Forward fold. Hook your big toes and just stretch down. Just do the thing you know to do. Hold your toes and stretch down and have faith that restoration will occur for you here. And breathe. And do the work to invite it in. Do you hear how quiet the room is? If there's not breath in your corner, you be the leader. Or we could do this. Take crow pose. We could put ourselves in a situation where we need breath. Hands to the floor, knees on the outsides of your armpits and tilt forward. Take a breath in. Every time you exhale, press the floor and lift your core. 2 more times. 1 more time. 1 leg at a time, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in, a deep breath out, jump up to your hands. Halfway lift, forward fold, chair twist now the other way. So squat into the chair, hands to prayer, twist to the left. Right elbow, left knee. Sometimes we just kind of like shuffle down into our toes and sort of half squat. If you put the weight in your heels and reach your bum way back in squat, it won't be as tiring. You'll use the muscles at the top and the bottom of your legs. Take the pose where it'll go. You got it, Mike. Wake up your toes. Keep on breathing. Let's do 3 more breaths. 2 more. That's it, Paul. Press down. Rise up. Chair. Forward fold. Slide your palms under your feet from the front for gorilla pose. If you put some attention right there on the ball of your big toe and just press that down into the hollow of your palm, that area right between your thumb and pointer finger, give it a massage, and also put your attention on it. That's the spot in your hand that's like a key connection point to the floor when you're upside down. So I'm going to give you a choice that you don't usually get. Release your hands from beneath your feet, and your first choice is to take crow pose or a variation of it. Your second choice is to step back. Be patient with yourself. There'll be a few crash landings, and squeeze the mat. Bend your knees and look at one point. Super strong belly. Jump into your crow pose. Try it a couple times. You'll probably miss. Or just take the crow pose. You have 5 attempts or 5 breaths. Get ready and go. You got it, Nikki. Use your breath. Oh, that was right there, Bob. Yep, there you go, Scott. And then for everyone, come into your crow pose or your version of that, whether you jumped there, crawled there, got there, or you're sitting there, and take one more breath. Chaturanga is next. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Take a breath in, a sigh out, look forward, and jump to the front of your mat. Halfway lift, fold. Press your feet down, come rolling up to standing, and sweep your arms overhead. Right side eagle pose. Step right into it and breathe. And if you listen around the room and like me, you don't hear anybody breathing, you just bring the breath. You can lift your fingertips up a little higher and press your hands forward away from your face. See if you can notice the stretching and the opening in your upper back. You'll need that for a wheel pose in a little while. You just palm to palm, but it's the elbows crossing. And if palms don't go, you can hug your shoulders. Okay, switch sides. So squat, left leg over your right leg, left arm under your right arm, and twist. Yep, or hug. That's it. Now squat down. Everybody low. Eyes on one point and breathe. You got one more breath. Step out, hug your right knee into your chest or hold your foot and extend your leg and breathe. Open your leg to the right, look and reach to the left. You can hold your knee, that'll work. And bring your leg forward, hug your knee again, airplane pose, just open the whole pose up. From whatever you think of as the center of you, press out into the edges. Maybe imagine like there's a bubble around you, and you reach out with your fingers and your head and your toes to the edges to touch that bubble. And as you're breathing, you just press your limbs through it. Whole body, maximum expansion. Keep that. Hands to prayer position. Half moon, left hand down, right arm up. Set your gaze and breathe. And even here, from your core, your center, out to your fingertips and your toes, stretch. So from the middle to the edge, expand out. Stay here with your leg in the air. One more time, reach up. Keep your leg in the air. 2 hands to the floor for standing splits. So just reach down to the ground or to a block and lift your leg as high as it will lift. If it's best for you right now to bend it, that's fine too, but do it with your whole leg alive. You can hug your standing leg with one arm or no arms or 2 arms. And take 2 breaths to just draw your chest down to your toes. And then flat hands on the ground and tippy toe. Lean into your fingertips. You might just work with this, leaning to your heel and then to your tippy toes into your fingertips, or roll off your toes, knee into your chest. Roll off your toes, knee into your chest. 5 times, whatever you're doing. Maybe it's heel down, heel up. That's just what you're doing. Or you're rolling off your toes and bringing your knee into your chest. There you go, Bob. One more. Keep your knee into your chest. 2 feet to the floor and hang. Breathe. And then from the floor, build it again. Organize your feet. Press your feet into the mat. Come rolling up to standing. Hug your left knee into your chest. Steady breath. Hold your foot and extend your leg, or just keep hugging your knee, and steady breath. Let your whole body get a little easier. Then open your leg to the left, look and reach to the right. And just enjoy the moment in the pose. One more breath. Hug your knee into your chest. Then airplane pose. So your whole body opening up. Reach and stretch. The more you stretch, the easier the balance is. The stretching includes pressing down into the ground with your standing foot. And you might notice when you do that your shoulders and your chest and your head and your arms, they all lift up. One more breath here, then hands to prayer, half moon pose. Bring your right fingertips to the mat, your left fingertips to the ceiling. Root down to rise up. So your standing foot down to lift up. Keep your lifted leg in the air, hands to the floor. Standing split first. Keep your breath flowing. Take the forward fold and lift your lifted leg as high as it will go. Remember, your hands can be on blocks if that's what's best for you. Then put your flat hands on the ground a little in front of you and find one spot on the floor and look onto it. Inhale, maybe you're softening your knee. Exhale, rise onto your tippy toes and into your fingertips. Inhale, bend. Exhale, fingertips. When you're in your fingertips, really squeeze the floor. And then maybe 5 times, a little hop, and bring your knee into your chest. Sometimes when people are learning, they don't like the idea of the knee into the chest. They want 2 legs in the air. That is amazing, Bob. Look at that learning. You got it. That was awesome. 2 legs in the air won't teach you a handstand in the middle of the room. Okay, forward fold and hang. You can sway from side to side. Come all the way up to standing. Sweep your arms overhead, right side standing bow. So your shoulder rolls back and your palm faces out. Turn your wrist so your palm faces out. Bend your knee. Don't change anything about this. Hold your ankle. Yes. Left arm in the air. And then start to stretch. So press your ankle into your right hand and opposite, reach your left arm forward. Maybe in the middle of this, take a breath and a sigh. Let your shoulders relax and press some more. You'll fall out of this pose if part of your body is sort of hesitating on the stretch. Kick back, reach forward. Now drive your foot up and step out. Switch sides. Left hand, left side. Just enjoy the pose with your breath. There's this possibility of this pose. This is one of my favorites. It's like such a transformation. It is available, but you have to go for it in the pose. If you're like slumping through the pose the way I slumped around the gym floor for 12 minutes in middle school, the pose it's going to be hard. It's going to be not fun. Stretch and reach, like reach your fingertips, the whole of your body open, and then step out. Right foot to the floor, left foot to your inner thigh. We'll go to tree pose. Take your arms around behind your back and create prayer hands behind your back. They might not happen. It might look something just like fingertips touching. But work with the best with what you have. Once your fingertips are touching, just open your chest, the other foot to your inner thigh. And just breathe here. The poses that are hard and you think you don't have access to will never change if you never do them. They'll never become something that you have mastery of and comfort with. Switch sides. Right foot down, left foot up. Bring yourself into the position, hands to prayer position, and set your gaze. Set your breathing. Set your foundation, hands, feet, core. And then from your North Star, just be up to something bigger. Whatever that means for you right now. One more breath. Step to the front of your mat. Inhale and sweep your arms overhead. Fold to the floor as you exhale. Lift up halfway, low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog without hesitation. Step your right foot inside of your right hand. Open your body up to triangle pose. Just like that. Boom. Step one, step two. Go. Breathe here. So a block underneath of your right hand can be a really awesome tool. One more breath. Come on up to standing. Turn to face the long left side of your mat. Make your feet parallel to the short sides of your mat. Lift up high and forward fold. Once you're in the fold, walk your fingertips in front of you, pretty far. And then once they're pretty far away, exhale and sink the weight back into your hips and your heels. Once you have that really long stretch from your fingertips to your hips, just breathe. Feel what there is to feel here in this pose. Discover the space between each one of your ribs. One more breath. Walk your fingers back, come up to standing, turn to face the front of your mat, standing single leg forward fold. There's width between your feet and length. Hands behind your back, either interlaced, holding a strap, or in prayer position, forward fold. You might find your back heel lifts or your front knee needs to soften, and you play with those two customizations to discover the pose. Keep breathing. What is it to discover? What is it to live in the pose in a quality of discovery, different from knowing, different from doing? Twisting triangle, left fingertips down, right arm open. To discover this pose, instead of just doing the pose, what would be happening if you were discovering the pose? You can answer that for yourself. What would be happening? One more breath here. Then hands to the floor. Boom, step into downward facing dog. Then boom, left foot forward. Third one, open up to triangle. Just like that. So simple. And open right up. And breathe here. All right in the flow of your breath, like not even losing a beat. When you're in a practice of discovery, it's infinitely interesting. I'm sure I've told you this before. My friend Paige, who created the Africa Yoga Project, she used to love to say, the practice isn't boring, you're boring, because people can get to, like, the poses never change, this is so boring. That's just you. Press your feet down and discover something you've never experienced before in this pose right now. That's up to you. One more breath. Come on up to standing. Face the long left side of the mat. Feet parallel to the short sides of your mat. And just roll your shoulders back. Interlace your hands at your low back and forward fold. If that feels really crowded for you in your shoulders, interlacing like that, a strap between your two hands will give you a little bit more freedom. And if it's really comfortable, the strap between your two hands will show you a new part in your shoulders. If you're just not sure what you should be doing right now, look for the dull parts of your body and see if you can wake them up. You might have to squeeze a little bit, adjust your position, take a sigh, take a deep breath. One more breath here. Come on up to standing. Turn to face the front of your mat, standing single leg forward fold, hands behind your back, lift up high and fold. Angie, go longer with the base of your pose, like a lot longer. Yeah. Breathe while you're down in the pose. Nikki, you only have a block. I was going to tell you to put a little towel under there. Tuck the block anyway, Nikki. Turn your back toes under. Soften your front knee. Take your arms behind your back. Interlace and lift. Your hands can press against the back thigh. Just press against the inner thigh. Twisting triangle. Nikki, you can stay there. Or anybody in a split. Jen as well. You can do hands behind your back. Press down with your hands. You can rise up with your belly. Jordan, pull your left hip back. A little more. Yep. Open your chest up. One more breath. Hands to the floor, downward facing dog. Come to the, let's just go for this. Downward facing dog, come to camel pose. 2 knees on the ground. We're going to take a half camel on each side. Step your right foot forward. I think it's helpful to turn my back toes under for some stability. Right foot forward. If you need a towel or cushion under your knee, you can take that. Square your hips. Then your left hand can go on a block beside your calf muscle, or you can reach back to your heel. Now it's tempting to turn to the side. Once you have your fingers settled somewhere, square your hips. So square them to the front. You'll do that by pulling this right knee back. And once you have that, your knee sinking and pressing down, your chest lifting up, then bring your right hand just beside your cheek. Like it's tempting to reach it out there. Just bring it beside your cheek and slide it back, palm facing the ceiling, and look to the ceiling. That's it. Keep drawing your right thigh back. Pull your right thigh bone back, Kim. Yes, just like that. Everybody in the back row, pull your right thigh bone back to your pelvis. One more breath. Put your palm on your right knee for balance. Look forward. Hands to the floor, downward facing dog. Take a breath. Half camel on the other side. So now your right knee down, your left foot forward, turn your toes under. I have no idea why it does that. Square your hips. Right hand to your right heel. Get settled in this. For some of you, you will still be opening to the side. That's just what the flexibility of your quad and hip flexor has to do right now. You could come up to your block, but work towards square. You'll work that with this knee, with those toes, and this foot. Work towards square. Then your left hand, bring it to your cheek and keep your elbow in. Slide it past your temple, straight behind you, palm to the ceiling. Stay right here and breathe with your knee sinking and pressing down, the pit of your belly and your chest rising up to the ceiling. Really work the pit of your belly lifting. Let gravity handle your shoulders. 3 breaths. That's it. 2 more. Last breath. Take your left palm to your left thigh. Look forward. Downward facing dog. Right side pigeon pose. Right knee forward. I just looked around the room at some of you going into this pose, and there was a total sense of, thank God, don't talk to us anymore. Okay, now that you had a chance to do that, wake up your feet, especially the foot of the folded leg. If you want to flex your ankle, wake up your toes, and then come up a little bit, reach back with your left hand, catch your left ankle on the inside. When I catch my left ankle on the inside for a pose like this, there's a tendency to want to open out. I use the heel of my thumb and press into this inner side of my heel, put pressure in, that helps to keep the thigh bone wrapping in, and then fold. If you have a hard time reaching your foot today, just use a strap. There you go, and breathe. If you find that you adapt to this and you're really comfortable and you just want a little something more, make sure there's a block under your right hip. And then you can come up. You can sit up with these 2 legs bent. And then breathe here and just let your body get settled. And then you can reach your right arm overhead, reach back, and reach for your foot. You really want to get crazy? Use your thumb around your big toe. Then hold on to your big toe and swing your arm forward and bring this one forward. I know that's a lot. One more breath. Hands to the floor, downward facing dog. Left foot forward. The practice is infinitely interesting when it's done from a place of discovery. The time goes by like a flash. The breath is so deep and healing. And it could be that way every single time. And then you could come to your mat every single day. Yes, exercise, but really not as exercise. You come to your mat every single day like a self-tune-up to create an intention and match an intention with breath and movement. And out of that, you get to leave the room. Well, you know how that feels. You get to leave the room with, what do you get when you leave? Sense of calm, maybe peacefulness or vitality, sense of being settled sometimes. That doesn't just happen because of the practice. Like, there's a good chance, but you have to be practicing. If you're sitting on your left hip, get it up and centered in the pose and support it with a block. Once you have all that, come on up, reach back with your right hand, hold your right ankle. Again, I'll offer you the trick. Hold on however you have to hold on if you have to. But if you have access to something else, put the heel of your thumb or your palm right into the inside of your heel. And when your hand is there, put pressure with the heel of your palm so it squares up your thigh, and then fold. Your leg's like, where am I in space here? There you go. And the pressure's right here. Right with this to this. Fold. That's nice, Charlie. If you find a spot and you're like, whoa, that's the most, that's it, stay right there and breathe. You might notice that it softens and new space happens and you then have more, then you take more. When you practice like that, your practice evolves and you never get hurt because you're never setting up more by what you want to do. You're setting up more as an outgrowth of what you can do and what's next. If you want to take the king pigeon pose, come upright, still hold your back leg. You probably have to close the angle of your front leg a little more. And then the king pigeon, it happens by stretching and lifting, not sinking. So Jen, turn your chest, keep it, turn your chest to the street, and really lift the right side of your body. The more lift you get, the easier that pose is going to be. So Nikki, chest forward and really lift the right side. Some support under your hip would help. All right, for everybody, come on out. Downward facing dog. Stretch back. Take one more breath. Jump through your hands and sit down. Once you're seated, extend your right leg long. Bend your left leg so the sole of your left foot touches your right inner thigh. And then if you have a block, sit it on the floor inside like your calf muscle. This calf muscle. You'll be the demo, Mark. So next thing you're going to do, instead of turning towards your straight leg like we always do, you're going to turn straight ahead. So leg is bent, you'll turn just face straight ahead. Then turn your right palm up like you're holding a tray. And with your thumb, hook it around your big toe. And you can just let your elbow settle down to the block that we put there inside of your calf muscle. With your left hand, put it on your left thigh, press down into the ground, and roll the bone out away from you. So you'll just press and roll it out. Instead of sinking more, the press and out roll will have your body lift a little more. So chest and eyes turning toward the ceiling. Keep on breathing. So there should be a lot of stretch in your left body right now. Breathe into that space and make a little more space. And then your hand that's on your thigh, your left hand, bring it to your shoulder with your back hand pressing back, your elbow pressing back. Get used to that. Keep your hand back here on the plane of your ear rather than forward up here with your nose. Keep breathing. And then you can slide it overhead you'll find a spot where your body's just done. Maybe you reach overhead and hold your toe. Don't do that by collapsing though. Yep, keep it open. You might consider the underside, the right side. It wants to have some space and length. Yep, there you go. In the pose, take a breath in and have a sigh. Let there be more space and reach a little further, maybe all the way, and touch your toes. Come on up. Switch sides. That was good. You don't like that one? Damien's like, I don't think so. What's your definition of good? I just don't want you to be bored. Bend your right leg. The block goes in here. You know that already. Palm up. Use your thumb around your big toe. That's the king pigeon grip too, and king dancer pose. Elbow to your block. Palm to your thigh. Press it away and look up. Get adapted to this. So it's quiet. The pose doesn't have any fuel without breath. So it's not that I'm nagging you about breathing. I just want to point you toward what will give you access. Then your right arm, you can just bend at the elbow, palm back, and just get adapted to this quality of both of your shoulders, both of the points of your ribs are lengthening toward your left toe and turning toward the ceiling. And then as you breathe, try and exhale and see if your body softens a little bit. And then you can start sliding your palm maybe a little more overhead. Keep your elbow in that back plane. Reach, maybe touch your toes. Keep on breathing. Keep on taking sighs and making space. One more breath. Go as deep as it'll go. Come on up. Open your 2 feet wide, a seated wide leg forward fold. So however wide they go, toes face up to the ceiling. Softness under your knees is a pretty great thing, or hips a little elevated is pretty nice too. And then you may be doing a couple different things. If it feels like you're sitting back here and like you just have on your tightest pair of jeans ever, soften your knees, put your hands on the floor behind you, and sit up. A block under your knees would be nice. And if you find that you can sit up, you feel your sitting bones on the mat, or you even feel yourself in front of them, then reach forward. Don't worry about getting like all the way down there. Just lift. Yep, and then just discover what there is to learn about yourself in this pose right here. Breathe. So when you hit a difficult moment, can you stay? Can you breathe? Can you discover something new? And then maybe there's like something new is that you reach a little further. Maybe that is that you stay, or maybe that it's you back up a little bit. Take another breath, and exhale, and you just let yourself sink and come on up to seated. Bring your legs around, roll onto your back, legs straight up in the air for waterfall pose, or roll your feet overhead for plow pose, or take a different inversion. If you're getting upside down more like handstand shapes, handstands, forearm balances, try one leg in the air, one knee to your chest. And then steer the pose with your feet. We've spent a fair amount of the class with some attention on feet. The degree to which you were able to really discover your feet, well, that's the degree to which you have a new tool handy when you're upside down and things get a little confusing, like the floor is taking on a new spot. You surviving back here? Ready for next Saturday? Yep, and then work it with your feet. That's it, Scott. Exactly. Here, Kim. So there's so many different poses going on. Work with what you're in and know that you have about 5 more breaths to create the finishing pose of the pose that you're in. If you're not sure what that means, if you're in waterfall maybe, that you're on your back and your legs straight up in the air, hugging your knees into your chest would be a finishing pose. Shoulder stand, it's plow pose or deaf man's pose. Headstand, handstand, forearm balance, it's child or newborn pose. From wherever you are, make your way onto your back. Hug your knees into your chest. You can drop your knees to the left and look to the right. And when you're here, take a breath in. And exhale. Then switch sides. And even let yourself get easy on the shoulder side. If Candy, you could maybe twist less, your shoulder could relax. Then come back to the center, hug your knees into your chest. Supta Baddha Konasana, soles of your feet together, knees out wide. Take a breath and a sigh. Again, a breath in. And as you sigh, just let your bones sink into the ground. You have a cool eye towel near you in the studio. Hopefully, Candy, you've set yourself up with that treat at home. Good. Socks. At home, socks. In the studio, cold eye towel. If you have a cold eye towel near your head somewhere near your mat, you can place that on your eyes if you would like. And then stretch your legs out long and wide into Shavasana, arms wide. Really make your body comfortable. And then take a breath in and let a sigh out and let go. If our practice was an inquiry, an action of discovering, pose by pose, breath by breath, all that was practice in preparation for this pose. An opportunity to be still. As an opportunity to experience and discover right now. Moment by moment, a new discovery. Take a deep breath in and exhale through your mouth. A breath in and squeeze your fingers into your palms and then stretch them out and squeeze them again and stretch them out and hug your knees into your chest. Roll to your side and bring yourself up into a sitting position. Settle into your seat, make yourself comfortable, and give yourself a moment to pause. And just eyes closed in this pose at the end of this practice, just feel what you feel. Inhale, sweep your arms overhead. Exhale, bring your hands into prayer position. Set the intention for the rest of your day, the first intention for the rest of your day for this whole new year. I don't know about you, I'm ready for a whole new year. So set an intention that's meant for a whole new year. And we'll work on that in that 6-week program too. And then 3 times we're going to chant Om together. The invitation is to let there be a lot of vibration in your body, a lot of sound. Take a deep breath in. Bring your thumb knuckles to the center of your forehead. Take just a moment to offer yourself a word or two of gratitude. I acknowledge you for taking the time to just get in here and choose who you'll be as a person for the rest of the day. It takes a little something extra to be up to that. Take a deep breath in. Exhale through your mouth. Namaste. Namaste, Candy. Thank you for joining us, Candy, and thank you for all being here. Happy New Year. If you have any questions about your practice or programs we've got coming up, I'm happy to answer them. Have a great rest of your day. Yeah, there's a candlelight class tonight. So if you've never practiced twice in one day, it's the most incredible thing. Consider that you've done the work now to be more open, and then later you're going to have access to yourself in a way you never imagined. So this class is done to candlelight. I think Leah is the teacher, and she's such a magical teacher. So maybe you'll come back and do your second class today. That'd be awesome. Damien, doing 2 today? You should. Those cards can go at the desk. There are hampers at both doors for the eye tiles. Any equipment that was borrowed, just sit it on the floor in front of the equipment rack. That handstand is really looking good, Bob.